Hello students, today I am going to explain you the chapter I Want Something in a Cage by L.E. Grieve. Introduction of the chapter. There was a person named Mr. Purcell. He used to run a pet shop. In that pet shop, he used to sell cats, dogs, birds, etc. their food and medicines. One day a person came to his shop. This guest was wearing a new but cheap coat and looked money deprived. He glanced at the shop items and chose a cage. He asked Mr. Purcell, "I want something in the cage." Purcell advised the person to keep some white rats. The guest settled on a pair of the dove. The guest asked about the price. Mr. Purcell quoted $50 for each. The guest replied he had only $5. Purcell calculated that even after deducting 50 cents for expenses, he still can make a small profit. So accepted the offer. Now the guest asked Mr. Purcell to guess the time in which the guest had earned the money. Purcell was skeptical and did not tell anything. The guest replied 10 years and went out of the shop. Now Purcell saw that the guest was releasing the dove by his hands. Purcell felt like being cheated. So here comes the detailed summary of the chapter. Mr. Purcell ran a shop of pets. One day a strange man came there. He bought 2 doves, but soon after coming out of the shop, he let the doves free. This strange act made Mr. Purcell uneasy. His shop began to appear to him a haunted house. The shop had all kinds of pets. On the shelves, there were many cages. Mr. Purcell considered himself a professional man. There was always some noise in the shop. This was created by the sounds of different animals on the shop. There seemed to be everywhere a flicker of life. The life in cages did not trouble Mr. Purcell's customers. They praised the caged animals and called them cute. Mr. Purcell showed his concern about the well-being of birds and animals in his shop. He dealt in fish food and bird seed and prescribed remedies for ailing canaries. He wore large glasses which magnified his eyes. His looks made the author compare him to a wise owl. The noise in the shop did not trouble Mr. Purcell. He was as used to it as to the ticking of a clock. The customers who came to buy a pet also did not mind this noise. But a man had bought 2 doves and let them free. He had found the shop depressing. He asked the owner if all the noise did not upset him. This man had shiny shoes. His suit was cheap. His dress was ill-fitting but new. He had close-cropped hair and unsteady eyes. He didn't seem very clear as to what he wanted. He had been just released from prison. So he wanted to buy an animal which could give him a taste of freedom. His eyes fell on a pair of doves. He knew that the doves loved to fly high in the air. He did not buy the doves because he loved them. He wanted to have the pleasure of freeing some animals. This urge was so great that for this he spent all his money. This he had earned after working hard as a prisoner for 10 years. The amount was $5. After buying the doves, this new customer talked to Mr. Purcell for a little while. Mr. Purcell offered to advise him about the care and feeding of the doves. The man, however, was not interested in that. He said, "Bah," with disdain and went out of the shop. It was so because he was not interested in keeping the doves. As soon as he came out, he opened the cage. He let the doves fly high in the sky. Mr. Purcell saw it and felt vaguely insulted. Moral of the story is, here the story suggests that the guest was in prison for 10 years and knew the importance of freedom. He knew the need and value of freedom. It was his love for freedom that he spent his hard-earned money on buying the doves and setting them free. This story tells us that we should not imprison a living animal or harm them anyway. Thank you, students, for patience listening. I hope you have understood the chapter. For better understanding, thorough reading of the chapter is required.